Hello, welcome to Productions MJC. I ran across some videos by a gentleman, Harry Baird, and I was looking at his stuff because he's what another video maker referred to as a polite flat earther. And he thinks that I'm being polite, but those who know me know that I mirror the people I'm talking to and dealing with. So if I get somebody who hates the scientific method and is snotty and is mean, I'm immature. I mirror that. I actually emulate that. And Harry is a nice guy. So I, in return, respect him and emulate what he's doing. Okay, Harry, I want you to think about something, because you mentioned on your auto level video that you don't know why Globers don't use the auto level more because of what it seems to show. Here's the answer. The answer is you are not, even though you say on your video you're a flat earther, and you tend to believe that way, you are not like most flat earthers. Most flat earthers do not want to do experiments. They don't want to find out the answer. They don't want to know. They know they've made up their mind, and they're going to stick to it no matter what anybody says. That's what most of them do. You are different because you're actually trying to figure this out. And of course, after you finally do figure it out, you will be labeled as a shill, and you'll be, bad-mouthed and just made fun of. But here's an example. I want to give you this example from a flat earth perspective. Do you know what we're looking at here? We're looking at the Eiffel Tower experience in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, let's look at it, and I'm going to explain to you why they don't think, why you're wondering what you're wondering. Number one, you're different because you wonder. Now, here's the Eiffel Tower. It's in front of a hotel named Paris in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's not in some fanciful country named France. It's actually in Las Vegas, Nevada. I've seen it, touched it, walked under it. Couldn't afford to go to the restaurant there, but, I digress. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I've made up my mind that the Paris experience is a hotel experience. The Eiffel Tower is in Las Vegas, Nevada in the United States. There is no country named France. I've never purchased anything made in France. There's no such thing because France doesn't exist. So, Harry, I want you to prove to me France exists. Knowing that I've made up my mind, I've seen this thing, I've touched it, I know what it really is. It is not in some fanciful fantasy land called France. It's not in a city named Paris. It's a hotel named Paris. And I'm not going to get on a plane. Matter of fact, you won't get me on a boat either. I get motion sick, so I'm not going anywhere near a boat or a plane. I live in the United States. I know where this is. And I've never seen anything made in France. I've never purchased anything made in France. It's illegal to say something was made in a country that it really wasn't made in. That's why you don't see any labels made in France, because France really doesn't exist. It's a fantasy land. And there's your flat earth side to an observance. Now, some people laughed at me and said, hey, France is objectively provable. And I just come back with, you know what objectively means, right? I've never personally observed it. Therefore, it doesn't exist. Because objectively means it's an object that you can touch, see, feel. And eyewitnesses are worthless because they can be bought and paid for. And videos can be faked, pictures can be faked. And Antonio, the guy you reference in and he wrote a couple of comments. I don't really know much about him, but I know that when a flat earther says, globe Earth doesn't exist, show me the picture of a globe, they've seen pictures of the globe, but they choose to say that it's all fake and CGI and doesn't really exist. As a matter of fact, you see on the screen the Statue of Liberty's in Las Vegas too, but I digress. Let's just stick with this. When you see someone make comments and make videos saying, this is all fake, prove to me it's real, then I just say right back to them, like I'm saying to you, Harry, prove to me France exists. I've already made up my mind it doesn't. But if you can change my mind, great. But remember, eyewitnesses can be faked, can be bought. Eyewitness testimony is worthless. Pictures are worthless. Videos are worthless. I'm not going on a plane or a boat. I am not traveling to some fake country called France, because I know that I will be hypnotized, I will be taken advantage of, I will be drugged into thinking I'm really in some other country when I'm actually walking around in Las Vegas, Nevada. So, therefore, I am not going to let you fool me. I'm not going to let you trick me. I'm not going to let you take advantage of me. Now, prove France exists. See what I'm saying, Harry? See how possible it is to prove to a flat earther that they're living on a globe? The auto level tool is worthless when you're talking to a flat earther, because tools are calibrated to believe there's a globe when it's really flat. Tools are faked. They're created by people that believe in a globe, so of course it's going to show that you live on a globe. I mean, if it was designed by somebody that lived on a flat earth, it would actually show that you live on a flat earth. That's the mentality that we as globers have to deal with. You may be subject to actually understanding what's going on, but that's why I have suggested some of my earlier and my more simple experiments. I like to keep my experiments simple. I would recommend that you be very careful of what Antonio is showing you, because what he's going to show you, he's going to keep hidden the parts that he doesn't want to be seen, and I'll show you next. Antonio did a critique and a review of somebody's shot of Toronto from New York, and they talked about the Rogers Center, the white portion of that, and the CN Tower on the right. They talked about how it's 306 feet high. It's actually 308. And it does make a difference when you talk only 2 feet in viewing distance. But here we have a situation where they're talking about it being 30.84 miles, and they come out and they say, how can you see something that is 31 miles away because the drop is so great it should be gone, and such like that. But keeping in mind, there's things that they're not telling you about the situation. Things that are obvious. You don't see the waterfront. You see a portion of the top of the building. But there's something very, very important about that building you're not seeing. And what are you not seeing in that building over that distance? Now, Harry, I'm going to tease with this. I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to give you time to figure it out. But what about that building is not seen? There's a distance of almost 31 miles, and you're not being told about it. You're not being helped understand it, but it's right in front of your eyes. It is something glaringly missing in that building, and it is not seen, and it is hidden, yet it's in plain sight. Now here's the Rogers Center with the dome open, right? Well, partway open. But you're missing something. Here's an overhead view. What are you missing in those other shots? What can't be seen? And I'm not talking about the buildings on the left not being seen. Or the building in the back behind the Rogers Center. Not talking about that. What can't be seen in that building? You know what it is? Give me a few seconds more and I'll reveal it. But keep in mind, this is not my video. This is a Flat Earther's view, critique of another Flat Earther's video. This is I am using their own evidence against themselves. And what can't be seen in that white building? Believe me, this is going to be a mind blow for globers and flat earthers alike, and here it comes, Harry. Curvature. Over great distances, things that are obviously curved, like the roof of the Rogers Center, appear flat. They look flat. So that kind of screws with your flat earth mantra of looks flat, feels flat, must be flat. That's a flatbed. Is it flat? No, it's actually curved for weight support. So in the real world, apparently according to a flat earther's video, this is the real Rogers Center. It's flat. Whereas this picture is obviously doctored, it's photoshopped, because there's no curvature to that building. Because again, we go back to the flat earther video, and flat as a board, the Rogers Center roof is absolutely flat. Flat earth video evidence of a flat-roofed Rogers Center, so obviously this must be a doctored photoshopped image showing curvature to that roof. That's how crazy things can get when you start filming over long distances, Harry. That's how convoluted things can get. This is a flatbed truck, but it has curvature. Something on the top surface of that trailer closer to the cab would actually be hidden by the curvature, similar to how the CN Tower and the other things look in Toronto from that vantage point up in the top right hand corner near on that beach where the person was filming at. Now, switching gears, people are making fun of the curvature calculators, having a disclaimer that it's not accurate over water, but they leave out that it's for objects being observed near the horizon. What else do they leave out? Well, the woman in her video quotes the 243 average mean height of Lake Ontario. However, when she filmed, Lake Ontario was setting records at being 248 feet. She said the Rogers Center was 267. It's actually 269. That's the elevation above sea level. The only thing she did get right is that the thing's actually 282 feet tall. In going back to our discussion of these other videos, that I guess we can assume that they're doctored, they're photoshopped, because it's showing curvature of that building, and mysteriously all the buildings that should be visible in her video have been cropped off at exactly the height of the Rogers Center. What else is missing is also a lot of that CN Tower is missing as well. At this transition, watch the CN Tower really grow. A lot of it's been chopped off and cropped in her video from its vantage point of 31 miles away. Okay, now going back to what these people were talking about. Her calculations are 306 feet when it's actually 308. That's only 2 feet. What's the big deal? 2 feet. Do you know how much a difference 2 feet can make? Let's say that she said she was at 4 feet instead of 6. That would make the horizon 2 2/3 miles away. If we raise up to 6 feet, that makes the horizon 3 1/4 miles away. That's over a half a mile difference. I calculated it out, it's 0.58, blah blah blah. But it's over a half a mile difference. And all you've done is moved the camera 2 feet. Let's say it's 8 feet. Well, not that. There we go. 8 feet. Now you see the difference? Pretty consistent. We go from 324 to 374, so it's a half a mile. And that makes a huge difference on where you can see. Now, in my first video, Flat Earth Trolls, I delved in way too quickly into the Jeranism 4-mile laser test. Too quickly for some folks, so I went back and revised it a little bit. But let me explain that his camera was 5 feet high, 5.5 feet high. His target was 5.5 feet high. Combine the two, that's about 11 feet. So let me show you the difference between 0 at that distance, okay, and 11 feet. roughly 4.4 miles compared to 0 at the horizon is right there at the edge of your camera. See, that's when flat earthers start to go from foot level to foot level and say, look, there should be this amount of drop, and there isn't. There are, Jeranism, Taboo Conspiracy, P-Brain, all these others. They like to calculate from foot level to foot level and then tell you there should be X amount of drop, and they're trying to always negate a couple of feet here and there from the height of the observer, because it makes a difference. Because it makes a difference how high you are when you're looking around the edge of a ball, when you're looking over a curved surface. There should be no difference when you're raising up to how far you can see over a flat surface. You can test that out yourself. Go to any basketball court and put a camera on the floor and put a golf ball on the other end, and you can see it. And then raise your camera up 2 feet. You can still see it. Raise your camera up 20 feet. You can still see it. Then drop your camera back down to 0 inches. The golf ball doesn't disappear. The player's shoes don't disappear, because you can see the same amount of distance. But looking around the edge of a ball, height makes a difference. That's why flat earth video makers like to negate a couple of feet, 10 feet, 20 feet here and there, because they know it makes a difference. Let's take a look at a visual experience, a visual effect that looks strikingly similar to a flatbed semi-trailer. Take a look at that. Look at the tops of those transmission towers that are the same height over water as they go across Lake Pontchartrain. Take a look at this. Doesn't it look strikingly similar? That would be an easy experiment to do. Simply place a bunch of tumblers or cups along the bed of that truck and then film it on the end. Now, what in the world could a roller coaster possibly do with showing some fallacies and faults with experiments that have been done regarding the flat earth? D. Marble took a phone to an airport and then went 4,000 miles away to another airport. He claimed that since the floors were level at both airports, obviously the world was flat because it was level at both airports 4,000 miles away. Well, if you put a level on the top of every one of those curves and showed that the top of the curve was flat and level, then obviously the roller coaster is flat and level, right? Total fallacy. Any data can be misinterpreted. Any data can be confused and overlooked either accidentally or on purpose. Just as the glaringly obvious fact that the Rogers Center is not a rectangle. It is not shaped like that. And yet in the video it is. Why? It's almost a perfect rectangle. Yet in real life it has curvature. So there's obviously distortion in that video. There's problems with it. There's something going on that is just not being looked and addressed. It's just being totally blown off and ignored. That's why I've told you to look at the sun through eclipse glasses instead of looking at it through video tricks or video misinterpretations. Employ a more scientific method. Employ more observation without the intention of figuring out the problem beforehand. And of course, I'm not perfect at it. I do case build sometimes for the globe. But I want you to think about something most people don't think about. You don't see that pinpoint trick with the moon because it doesn't wash out the white balance on a camera. And I will leave you with a portion of my cardboard test video. This is how the item is made. This very small hole goes in here, where this larger hole is what you sight through. I made that for like 3 cents, and it is what I use to sight the moon. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. This has been Productions MJC.